Well, it's hard to believe a military coup could happen in this country, but in an interview this week, Jim Jeffrey, the outgoing U.S. envoy to Syria and an advisor to Joe Biden, admitted that he was part of just that. Jeffrey said this, quote, "We were always playing shell games to not make clear to our leadership how many troops we had there in Syria." Jeffrey said that the actual number of American troops stationed in northeast Syria is, quote, "a lot more than the 200 troops the president said we were leaving there in 2019. This sounds a lot like treason. You're not allowed to make your own foreign policy. Only people elected by the public can do that. The chain of command is a sacred structure that keeps us a democracy. The media weren't bothered by that, though. They cheered it on. Liz Sly, a Washington Post bureau chief covering Syria, wrote this, quote, "The joke is on Trump, who told so many lies for being so easily lied to by his officials." So she hates Trump, okay, but why is she backing a subversion of our democracy? Because that's what it is. Back in August, Susan Rice, you remember her, went on television to say she was losing her mind over the president's planned withdrawal from Syria.
I woke up this morning to hear that news, and as I do, it seems like 6 days a week, I just put my head in my hands. This is bat crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy to pull American troops out of Syria. What are they doing there in the first place, Susan Rice? Anybody? Anybody? Do we have any clue why American troops need to be in Syria at great expense, waiting to be killed? No, no one explained. But they must be. At the Democratic National Convention this year, a video montage showed a stream of bureaucrats and security state officials complaining about pulling out of Syria.
Our military had a policy to maintain our presence in Syria. We actually came to the aid of the Kurds against ISIS, and we helped stop the advance. President Trump told us to simply abandon the Kurds. It's shameful.
Joe Biden will be strong against dictators.
I've heard him on the phone with some pretty tough characters. You know, you talk about Joe Biden's empathy, his decency, but Joe Biden is tough as nails, and everybody knows it.
He will do the right thing, no matter the political cost.
I've served for 2 Republican presidents and 1 Democratic president. I have seen the Trump administration make decisions without any thought, without any preparation, that have massive life and death consequences.
Oh, these people. These people. The Kurds! We must protect the Kurds! So actually, the headline here is, Republicans come, they go. Democrats come, they go. But neocons remain. Aaron Mate is a journalist with the Grayzone. He hosts the show Pushback. We're happy to have him on tonight. Aaron, thanks so much for coming on. So I don't really think you need to be a partisan Republican or a Trump supporter to be bothered by the fact that people whose job it is to carry out policy were making it and lying about it. Why should we care?
Exactly. There's 2 main issues here. There's the principle of civilian leadership and then the policy of staying in Syria. I'm not a supporter of President Trump. I never have been, but I respect the fact that he was elected. Nobody elected James Jeffrey or any other unelected bureaucrat. And if we believe in the minimal standards of democracy, we'll respect that chain of command. Then you have the policy itself. Why does James Jeffrey want to lie to the president and keep U.S. troops occupying Syria? It has nothing to do with helping out the Kurds. The U.S. has abandoned the Kurds for a very long time, going back many administrations.
Good point.
It doesn't care about the Kurds. The policy is, as James Jeffrey himself said earlier this year, he said, my job is to create a quagmire for the Russians. Why would we want to keep U.S. troops, put them in harm's way, steal another country's oil, cut off Syria from its own people, just so we can create a quagmire for another nuclear-armed power? We tried that in Afghanistan. That led to the rise of al-Qaeda. And similarly, in Syria, the proxy war that we've been involved in for over a decade has also created the rise of al-Qaeda. James Jeffrey's predecessor, Brett McGurk, said that in Idlib, al-Qaeda now has its largest safe haven since 9/11. That's a result of the proxy war that we've been engaged in going back to the Obama administration under the incoming president, Joe Biden. So President Trump has an opportunity here. He's leaving in a couple of months. He was elected on an anti-war platform back in 2016. Right. Millions of people voted for that. He criticized these wars. He could end them now. He could pull U.S. troops out of Syria, tell James Jeffrey and John Brennan and Joe Biden that it's not our job to be occupying other countries. It's our job to bring our troops home and give Syria back to Syria.
What's so interesting is that the orthodoxy on this subject is absolute. You are not allowed to disagree. Everybody is on the same side as Susan Rice and Hillary Clinton and John Bolton. You're very well informed in this. You break actual stories. What are the chances you could get a job at the Washington Post? And you're very left-wing, I should just say, in case our viewers haven't picked that up. What are the chances you could get a job at the Washington Post with the views you have on Syria?
Well, look, it's not just Syria. It's any major national security issue. The media has been in lockstep with the national security state, whether Trump is in favor of the policy or not. You look at a major issue that you've covered, Tucker, I've covered as well. This scandal at the OPCW, where you had inspectors go in, conduct an investigation in Syria in April 2018. Their investigation was covered up because it undermined this claim that Syria had committed a chemical weapons attack. Right. No one in the media, except for us basically, has covered it. So on top of the cover-up scandal, there's a media scandal as well.
Yeah, they lied about a poison gas attack. They lied about it. The State Department lied about it, flat out. And then we killed people in response to it. And we're not allowed to talk about that? It's one of the most frustrating things I've ever seen. Aaron Monte, thank you for your bravery. And I hope the Washington Post does hire you. They could use some sane people. Thanks.